But hello everyone, and thank you for joining us yet again. This is our 6th checking in with HFLA, and we're so glad that you decided to join us for the first time or possibly for the 6th time, 3rd time, whatever it might be. But I'm Laura Kleinman. I'm president of the board of HFLA of Northeast Ohio. And today I have the honor and pleasure of having a conversation with Michael Killik of Killik Hot Sauce. He's got a great story about how he has come to be the owner of this hot sauce company today. And Michael was an emergency loan recipient of ours from, did I just say that right? He received an emergency loan for COVID from us, from HFLA. And so we'd like to talk to him about his story today. And Michael, with that, take it away. And can you tell us a little bit about your background and yourself, from when you were a little boy and, well, whatever you'd like to share with us.
Sure. Thank you very much. And thanks for this Facebook Live interview. It's awesome. I'm born and raised in Cleveland. I went to St. Ignatius High School. From there, I did 4 years in the Air Force, which I grew up a lot in. And then I came out, became a Cleveland teacher for a bunch of years. I have 4 beautiful daughters. 3 of them are in the food service industry as well. And then as things would go, I had a stroke about 15 years ago and had to retire from teaching. And I went back into what I did in college, which was work in restaurants. I started working for Susan Walters and Kika restaurant, and I met Eric Williams when he was a fledgling head chef. We became friends. He invited me. He asked me, he goes, "Do you want to be an expo?" And I said, "Sure." "What's an expo?" I had no idea. So he just threw me in.
Let us know what an expo is.
An expo is somebody where the food, when it comes off the line, the chef's making it on the line, he organizes it so the servers can take it to the appropriate tables.
Thanks.
And I started back in there. And like I said, it's the same mentality working in the restaurant industry as it is working as a middle school teacher. Don't, are those clean clothes? Did you eat today? Don't put your tongue on that. It's the same mentality. So it was an easy transition for me. And from there, Eric and I opened 4 restaurants: LC, the 2 Jack Flaps, and Euclid Tavern, Hot Dog Inn. That was a huge project.
The Happy Dog, right?
The Happy Dog, yeah. So it was a beautiful second chapter for my career, going from teacher to working in restaurants, and then things took another turn. I happened to have 6 years ago now, I had a heart attack. A week after my father had a heart attack. It's kind of it's a crazy story. He had a heart attack first. I helped him get home. He had 2 stents in his heart. And then as I was closing down the restaurant, he was home and feeling good. As I was closing down the restaurant, I had a heart attack, though I didn't know it was a heart attack at the time because the pain came in my right arm, and usually they say it's the left arm. But so, a PSA, if you're a man in your late 40s, get your heart checked out. Because I know a lot of guys, even Chef Carl from Guy Fieri's buddy, he died of a heart attack in his late 40s. So anyway, so I'm closing on the restaurant and I feel like I'm having a heart attack, but I thought it was just stress. So I went home and I drank half a bottle of tequila to knock me out, which worked. And thank you God, I woke up the next day, cleaned the restaurant, and then I went to the VA and they said, "You had a heart attack," and they put a stent in my heart. Well, Anthony Bourdain says, don't treat your body as a temple, treat it as an amusement park. And that's what I did for 50 some years. But he didn't tell us, what do you do when the wheels start falling off the rides? So I had to cut back on my sodium. And that led me into this career.
Yeah, so tell us, well, so that's an amazing story, Michael. Amazing. And thank you for the PSA, you threw right in the middle of it too. So, okay, so now you're home, you're getting healthy, and you start, and you open up at some point a hot sauce company. So tell us what happened to lead you there.
Well, the doctor said I had to cut back on my sodium, but I love hot sauce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's three types of people. People that don't use hot sauce, like my friend Sue at Caps and Corks. She's like, well, what would I put it on? And I didn't even know how to answer it to her. You know?
Everything, right?
Everything, right? Then there are people that use it appropriately, like my cousin Mark. He puts it on. He's like, oh, we had it with fajitas. It was delicious. I'm like, well, that's great. But then the last rogue group are people like me that put it on everything. It's not if I'm putting hot sauce, it's what I'm putting on.
Michael, what's your favorite thing to put hot sauce on?
Eggs in the morning.
Eggs. I was thinking about that this morning. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Eating over eggs with some hot sauce, I think is just a perfect way to start your day. So so I had to cut back on the sodium, but like Frank's is 8%, even Tabasco is 6%. Frank's wing sauce is 19% sodium.
Wow.
Which is imagine 1/5 of the bottle is all salt. But then I started messing with, I discovered fermentation from an article in, I think, Food and Wine.
Mm-hmm.
They had an article about to make this, it was fermented Fresno vinegar. And I totally screwed it up. I mean, totally screwed it up. But it was delicious. And I set it out to be for nutritional facts. And it came back as 2% sodium. And I was like, holy cow. And then I realized in fermentation, you use the salt to feed the microbes that are doing all the work, you know. And then I take it out and add fresh vinegar when I blend it. So then refining it, I got down to 1% sodium. So it's a healthy hot sauce. I know that's oxymoron, but it's a healthy hot sauce. And luckily, I'm surrounded by very talented chefs. So I let my old boss Eric Williams try it, and he loved it, and he hated everything I made up till then. So I'm like, well, this must be the real deal.
Right.
And Chef Tom from Momocho LC helped me refine it to get it ready for mass production. And I have 3 different flavors: a mild, a medium green, and then a hot, which I just add some habaneros to. And then I was looking for a place so I could manufacture it, and I found Central Kitchen.
Sure.
And Zach, who runs the kitchen down there, is a wealth of information. And so I hooked up with those guys and started mass producing it, because everybody I gave it to was blown away by it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Michael, when was this that you started producing at Central Kitchen?
Oh, geez, probably almost exactly about a year ago.
Okay.
I think, yeah, about a year and a couple months.
So things were moving along, things are going well, and then it's the fall, and then it's the winter, and we're in 2020. So what? Tell us what early 2020 and COVID were like.
Well, the whole process of going from 5-gallon pickle buckets to 55-gallon drums was I underestimated how much work it would take. Mm-hmm. You know, cutting 10 pounds of Fresnos is different than cutting 110 pounds of Fresnos. It's not an equal equation. So after, and luckily I have a bunch of chefs from other restaurants that help me out part-time when I have to produce. So we got past that. I learned a lot the first year, but things were going spectacular, like almost historic rise. Everybody loved it. Yeah. And through Central Kitchen in February, I got to pitch to Cisco and Market District. And I was getting ready to pitch to Heinen's, and everybody loved it. They loved that it was different. They loved that it was fermented and low sodium. And they loved my attitude towards it. I wasn't trying to impress them. I'm like, this is me and my hot sauce, take it or leave it. Which after all these years, I'm getting paid to be myself, which is pretty awesome. Oh, nice. That's not a bad gig to have. So I talked to Zach, the kitchen manager, and he said, I think I should put another batch in. And he said, I think you should put 2 batches in. And I'm like, holy shit, this is serious. If Zach thinks this.
And this is February now.
This is February, right?
February 2020.
This is in the before times, right? And so things were looking good. Eric Diamond's telling me, well, next year we'll travel to the coast and we'll do food shows. And I'm like, holy shit, this is it. Things are taking off.
Mhm.
And then, and then the Rona comes to town and everything changes. Everything changes. 98% of my friends are laid off in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
So for the first 2 months, I didn't feel it was right for me to push a high-end hot sauce when nobody knew when their next paycheck was coming from.
Yeah.
So basically, I spent a lot of money buying gift certificates and supporting small businesses because that's what I still have income coming in from being a teacher. And I felt I was blessed with that. And a lot of my friends, in fact, all of my friends were not blessed with that. So I felt the need to take care of the rest of my people, the rest of my tribe. And for the first 2 months, I didn't push any hot sauce. And then
but you had produced all this hot sauce, right?
Right. Well, that's the trick. All these SBA loans came out, and I was like, hot damn, I'm a veteran, I'm a small business. And I applied for the emergency EDIL.
The EIDL loan, yes.
Right. And I'm still fighting with them. So they've turned me down 5 times for reasons like, we couldn't find your company, but you have bad credit, which is bullshit. You didn't suffer economic distress. So I thought I'd be getting some money from these people. Like literally everybody around me has gotten money from them, but for some reason they're dragging their heels on me. And that was frightening because I had put in, about $5,000 worth of hot sauce. I call it in the ground, but in the barrels. And then I had to buy bottles. I had to buy caps. I had to buy new labels. So I still had to bottle all that stuff and process it because it's not going to keep forever using fermentation. There's a window I have to bottle it so it tastes good. So I ended up, I needed money pretty much.
Right.
And the SBA, again, like I said, I'm still fighting with them. I cannot stress that enough. If somebody from the SBA sees this, I'm still fighting with them. So I talked to people at Central Kitchen and the pierogi ladies.
Sure, pierogi pantry.
Pierogi pantry, love those ladies. They keep me honest. Let's put it like that. They keep me honest. They said, go to HFLA. They did right by us. And I went through your emergency COVID program.
Right.
And honestly, it was the easiest process ever.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
I had loans before, and some of these loans, I've had marriages shorter than some of these loans take to go through all the paperwork. But it was painless. You guys understood that I was in a jam. And the $5,000 you loaned me was enough to keep me afloat until I could start selling again, which is huge for a small business. I mean, $5,000 may not seem like a lot, but to me that was 2 batches of hot sauce.
Yep, and it's what you needed. Yeah. I've got a question that came in here from one of our viewers.
Awesome.
Michael, do you sell the Killik Hot Sauce in a bundle, like a taster's bundle?
Yes. Oh, but what a setup. That's a perfect question. If you go to our website, Killik, K-I-L-L-I-K, HSC, Hot Sauce Company.com, you can order a sampler pack online there, as well as the flavors individually. But you can order a sampler pack of all 3 flavors. That's by far the most popular. People checking it out. I should push the website more because it's a shelf-stable product. It'll last 2 years because the acidity level is such that it can sit on your shelf, without
do you not have to put it? Should you put it in the refrigerator after you open it, though?
The law says it says keep refrigerated on the bottle because that's what the
I
law
know,
says.
because I bought one yesterday and I opened it up and I tried it and it
Right.
told me to refrigerate.
Right. But honestly, I have a bottle of Delta in my car that's been there for over a month and it's fine. But that's
So
not, hopefully I'm not liable for that. But the label says keep it in the fridge.
we'll be fine here. So I want to ask you another question before we take some other questions. So without a doubt, it seems so many businesses have been impacted by the pandemic. And I think many too have tried to pivot. They've probably made some mistakes. I mean, that happens and we learn from those mistakes. And you clearly are an individual who tries things and maybe makes mistakes too, and learns from that and moves on. We always try to do this with checking in with HFLA with our different business owners, but can you share for our audience like your most valuable mistake?
My most valuable mistake. Well, it's not a COVID mistake, but it was
Okay.
so for all of last summer and going into the fall, I was all about producing, right?
Mhm.
I was learning how to mass produce. And then I went into, well, one, basically I'm a company of one. And then when I went into selling it, I went on the road. Zach calls me the king of the corner store because anywhere they have shelf space, I will pitch hot sauce. Yeah, Liquid Hardware is one of my biggest sellers. Saucy Saw, the butcher, another huge seller, and even like rental places, wherever there's this much space, I'll try and get my hot sauce in. And so I forgot about. Well, I'm horrible at leaving myself notes, so documentation is important. So I forgot that I had 3 barrels that were fermenting, and they over fermented,
Oh.
and there's no way to salvage it.
Mhm.
I had to I had to throw them away. So that was about $2,000. That was a $2,000 lesson I learned.
Mhm.
And the other big lesson is that everybody's going to get paid. If you're a small business owner, everybody's going to get paid before you.
Mhm.
The people who make the glass, the people who help produce your stuff, everybody. The state, of course, the state's going to get theirs. You know that.
Yep.
And however long you think it's going to take to be successful, times it by 10. Especially if there's a pandemic that you didn't know was coming.
Yeah.
And
No,
I guess the other thing is that the rules are changing every day here. This is what small businesses are dealing with. I still talk to Eric Williams, and the biggest thing is the rules change from day to day. And so when you're responsible for people's jobs, how do you go with the flow when the currents are constantly changing?
what's your advice? Let's end on this. What's your advice for people given that kind of environment
Oh,
and
Jesus.
business owners?
Uh, I don't know.
We didn't plan this one, did we?
No, right. Thanks for the curveball to end it with. I would say, I would say try to educate yourself in another profession. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of my friends in the restaurant industry, we didn't realize we were this vulnerable, right? Like a bartender, shit, you think they're set forever, right? Well, if there's no place to sling drinks, you're out of a gig. I would say save your money, but restaurant people are horrible at that. But you have to have a plan B. Everybody has to have a plan B because plan A rarely works. And in these days, who knows? Plan B may not even work.
One thing though, I will add for you, just in listening to you during our talk today, you really care about people. I mean, when you talked about when the pandemic hit, you were out there those first couple months supporting people you knew and supporting other restaurants. And I think when you're able to do that, that kind of activity comes back to you. You've got friends who are helping you bottle. And
Right.
I think it's important, right, to maintain those relationships that you have because you never know when you're going to need them as well.
Right. I was going to say, I try to be nice to everybody. And somebody told me a long time ago, before I was a teacher, they said, you have a teacher's heart. People are my business. I just care about people. That's, I mean, that's my best attribute and that's my worst attribute because it bites me in the ass a lot. But I have a group of guys around me that I know I've made a difference in their life and they made a difference in my life. And that's the powerful message. You know, sometimes, let's end on this. This is a good teachable moment. With everything coming down with COVID and all the uncertainty, sometimes I get overwhelmed, right? I'm an optimist and I get overwhelmed because you feel like you're one person. But then I thought about it and I decided to myself, well, I don't have to change the world right now. If I'm just positive for people I run into every day, and I'm positive to you guys, if I put out positive energy, then maybe you'll put out positive energy and maybe something will change.
Nice.
Because it's too much for one person.
Now, that's a great way to end. I want to thank everyone for listening to our conversation today. You can find out more about HFLA of Northeast Ohio on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Our website is interestfree.org. And please, you know, we are able to help people like Michael because of the generosity of the community. So if you feel so moved to support us or volunteer, want to know more about the organization, please give us a call. And then Michael, you get the last word because you need to now do your last pitch. And I know you gave us your website before, but give it to us again and anything else to make sure people can find your hot sauce.
My website is Killik, my last name, Killik, HSC, hotsaucecompany.com. If you go on there, I ship all across the country. Like I said, it's fermented, it's vegan, it's gluten-free, and it's low sodium, and it tastes wonderful, I think. So, I'm trying to change how people think of hot sauce. This is more of a flavor sauce, and thank you so much for your time. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. All right, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.